All right, somewhat less serious
deep
story here. There is no way to segue to this story. So it all started a few days ago with Nicki Minaj tweeting that her cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding, so just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied.
Yes.
Okay, so Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend allegedly has swollen balls because of the vaccine.
Right.
Now, obviously, this is ridiculous. Also, you were just telling me they don't even use the same vaccines. They use like the Chinese version.
This is actually an important corollary. They don't have Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. They use Sinopharm. So even if any of this is true, and it seems pretty clear that Mr. Minaj's cousin's friend has been cheating on his cousin's friend's fiance. She probably broke up with him because
this dude
he was cheating on her and he clearly got an STD.
He was definitely screwing around, gets an STD, is like, it was totally the vaccine.
Genius move.
She obviously didn't buy it because she broke up with him. Okay, so let me just say something about human nature, which I think is relevant and a potentially like deeper point here before we get into even more of the silliness that ultimately unfolded. People are very swayed. This is human nature. People are very swayed by anecdotes. They're very swayed by like what they've experienced in their life. And so, you know, I think that it's important to realize, to try to recognize that we all have this bias in favor of our anecdotes. We knew someone who this happened to, ergo, it must be true across the board. Of course, we have our own personal anecdotes, right? I was around you a lot when you were sick, and I didn't get sick, and we both had the vaccine, and we had no side effects. So those are our anecdotes. But the best thing to do is to look at the overall data and to not listen so much to Nicki Minaj or anyone else telling you about their cousin's friend's swollen balls. However, let's take for a moment seriously the claim that a vaccine side effect is swollen balls making you impotent. I can't believe this actually happened. The health minister of Trinidad and Tobago came out and gave a press conference. They did a whole investigation to find the swollen balls in question and came up empty-handed. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
One of the reasons we could not respond yesterday in real time to Ms. Minaj is that we had to check and make sure that what she was claiming was either true or false. And unfortunately, we wasted so much time yesterday running down this false claim. It is, as far as we know, at this point in time, there has been no such reported either side effect or adverse event. And what was sad about this is that it wasted our time yesterday trying to track down, because we take all these claims seriously, whether it's on social media or mainstream media. As we stand now, there is absolutely no reported such side effect or adverse event of testicular swelling in Trinidad, or I dare say, Dr. Hines, anywhere else? None that we know of anywhere else in the world.
So there you have it, guys. No swollen balls.
Yeah.
Even if there were, they're using a different vaccine. Okay.
That's true. They're using Sinopharm, which you shouldn't take because it's actually just not that effective. That's the other thing.
So Nicki Minaj's tweet and anecdote here, profoundly unhelpful and silly. But then it just devolves from here, okay? Right. So then you got MSNBC like aggressively trashing her, Joy Reid leading the charge. I'm not going to read this whole tweet from Nicki and the various slurs that she threw out against Joy-Ann, but suffice it to say she brings up the fact that, you know, Joy had her old homophobic blog post that she claimed it was hacked and, you know, time-traveling hackers went back, et cetera, et cetera. Also, and this is interesting, Joy had previously tweeted, which I didn't actually know, during the Trump administration, she said, will anyone at all, ever fully trust the CDC again? And who on God's earth would trust a vaccine approved by the FDA? How do we get a vaccine distributed after this broken Trumpist nonsense has infected everything, even if Biden wins? Which look, I think there is something to the idea that you can't just expect all the trust to be healed and everything to be, whatever your reason for mistrusting the government, those things don't just instantly go away. So it's worth having some compassion for people who are nervous, who are uncertain,
100%.
who are taking their time. Okay.
Yeah.
So at the same time that MSNBC is doing segments trashing Nicki, of course, Fox News suddenly loves Nicki Minaj. She's amazing. She's a hero for putting out her weird, wrong, swollen balls tweet. Tucker Carlson does all kinds of segments about it. I think he has Candace Owens on to talk about it, of course. So Nicki tweets out one of the Tucker segments and just has like a bullseye on it, basically saying like, he's totally right. And so because again, we live in like the worst of all times, of course, someone had to chime in. Oh, well, here's this as well. The news media also pretended that the reason she didn't want to go to the Met Gala is because of their vaccine requirement. When in reality, she says it's because she didn't want to travel because of her young child. So she feels that they were really twisting that. Okay, so we'll throw that one into the mix. Okay, so then we get back to Tucker. She's saying he got it right on this piece. Somebody had to weigh in and be like, he's a white nationalist, and that someone happened to be Hasan Piker. To which she replies that, you know, basically, don't tell me that I can't even associate with someone from a particular political party. Quote, people aren't human anymore. If you're black and a Democrat tells you to shove marbles up your ass, you simply have to. If another party tells you to look out for that bus, stand there and get hit. And there's a whole back and forth.
Now I'm pro Nicki. What's going on?
I know.
What's happening?
I'm like coming full circle now. I'm like, well, you're kind of right about that part.
That's a good point.
And then there's one more layer that well, there's two more layers. I promise. We're almost to the end of the updates. The next layer is Nicki says, and I think we have this tweet, that she's been invited to the White House. The White House has invited me, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Yes, I'm going. I'll be dressed in all pink like Legally Blonde, so they know I mean business. I'll ask questions on behalf of the people who have been made fun of for simply being human. Hashtag Ballgate Day 3. Then the White House responds that actually they didn't invite her to come. They did offer her a phone call. Personally, I think it'd be a good idea if they did invite her and she could talk to Dr. Fauci, do something on camera. Yeah, she's an influential person. One of the reluctant populations has been young black people. She might have some influence there. So I actually think it would be a good idea if they did invite her. And then the last piece I will lay on the plate for you is she says she's in, quote, Twitter jail. Don't know exactly what that means. Twitter says, all these tweets, by the way, are still up there, which I think if a common person tweeted some of this stuff, I'm not sure it would have remained intact. But all these tweets are still up there. But she says she's in Twitter jail. Twitter denies that there's anything going on with her account. And now I believe you are fully up to date on Nicki Minaj and the case of the swollen balls.
There you go. That's it. You heard it all here. Trinidad says it's not true. She tweeted out her thing. Now it becomes political controversy here. The problem is then the worst people on earth turn against Nicki, so now I'm pro Nicki. Then the White House says, well, she's not really invited. We invited her for a phone call with the doctor. Like you said, I actually would support it. And now she says that she is off Twitter and she will never use the platform again. Whether that's true or not, we'll see.
If she does that, she'll be a happier person.
And like you said, a Twitter spokesman says Twitter did not take any enforcement action on this account. So who the hell knows what's going on?
Which is interesting in and of itself. Because again, I think if it was a regular person,
there's no way.
We just did the segment on Facebook and how they've been exposed now as having a explicitly two-tier system of justice with their enforcement actions. It seems like maybe Twitter is doing a similar, they call it whitelisting, or it's a cross-check program at Facebook, but it seems like special treatment here as well. But yeah, I mean, it all starts with a really stupid and profoundly unhelpful anecdote. And then everybody gets into their all equally stupid partisan corners.
Correct.
And it just ends up being embarrassing and showcasing the worst of Democratic Party hacks and Republican Party hacks all the way around. And so you sort of come full circle in the end to being like, well, she does have a point about how stupid these partisan brainworms ultimately are.
Yeah, look, like I said, invite her to the White House. I think it's great. She should talk to doctors. She should talk about it wherever. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
If she wants to go on Tucker and talk about it, fine, whatever. I think it's all generally a good thing, and that inserting our culture war BS into this is dumb. Like you said, the Trinidadian health minister says it's all good. Maybe he's the Dr. Fauci of Trinidad. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, they don't even use our vaccine.
Right, and it's like the real point is they all use Sinopharm, which is not the same thing. So There we go.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut. Our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions. All that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.